Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me in the locker room on this Saturday afternoon, July 30th. I'm Alan Locher. Actor Frank Grillo is here today to talk about his latest project, Paradise Highway, currently in theaters now. He is best known for playing Crossbones in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. His incredible body of work spans decades, and highlights include Warrior, Disconnect, End of Watch, The Gray, Intersection, Edge of Darkness, and Zero Dark 30. His television work includes the lead role in Kingdom and recurring roles in Battery Park, For the People, The Shield, Prison Break, Blind Justice, The Kill Point, and Billions, to name a few. Daytime television audiences will remember Frank for his portrayal of Hart Jessup on Guiding Light. His new film, Paradise Highway, stars Academy Award winners Juliette Binoche and Morgan Freeman, leading this riveting thriller set in the trucking industry and its seamy underbelly of human trafficking. To save the life of her brother, Frank Grillo, Sally, who played by Binoche, a truck driver, reluctantly agrees to smuggle illicit cargo, a girl named Leila. As Sally and Leila begin a danger-fraught journey across state lines, a dogged FBI operative, played by Morgan Freeman, sets out on their trail, determined to do whatever it takes to terminate the human trafficking operation and bring Sally and Leila to safety. The film is about the power of human connection, about the damage that can be done when children are disconnected from the rest of society, and about the goodness that can prevail when it is rekindled. Please welcome to the locker room, Frank Grillo. Frank, my friend, thank you so much for being here. It's been a long time. Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. I watched the film very early this morning. It was
Oh, wow.
Great. It was great. Tell me what drew you to the role of Dennis in Paradise Highway.
Yeah, they sent me the script, and I immediately, 30 pages in, I was like, okay, I want to do this. And knowing that Juliette Binoche was playing the lead character, I mean, it was an easy yes.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What was it like working with her? And she plays your sister for everybody watching.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I mean, she's one of the best in the business, and I've been a huge fan of hers for a long time. I've seen everything she's done, and it's kind of what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was you work at that level with those people, and it's so interesting because when you're working with people who aren't at that level, it seems like there are more problems, and you get to work with people like Juliette and Morgan and the likes, and it just goes easy. It's just easier. You're all working at the same level, and it was a wonderful experience.
That's awesome. I understand. I read that you and the director Ann Gutto got together over Zoom to flesh out Dennis.
Yeah.
What was important for you in fleshing him out?
Well, it was more of what was important to Anna, because Anna knows me a certain way as an actor. And what she didn't want was kind of the archetypal Frank Grillo, in control, character. She saw something else in me, which I really loved about her. And she saw an innocence and an ambiguity in me, and not the guy who's always, going to kill the bad guy or be killed by the good guy, Mm-hmm. And I loved that she trusted me with this kind of ambiguity in this character who wasn't necessarily bad and certainly wasn't good, but lived in this gray area because of where he came from. And that's what we mined, Anna and I, throughout the whole process, was to make sure that I really didn't come through. There was no strength in Dennis. And I think we kind of pulled that off.
It really is a thrilling ride from start to finish. But it also deals with such an important issue, human trafficking.
Yeah.
And, reading the production notes, according to the FBI, more than 100,000 U.S. citizen children live in sex slavery in the U.S. around the corner from where we live. And I understand that Anne was exposed to that as a teenager.
Right.
I'm curious if you realized how prevalent it was And maybe what did you learn from Anne about her experience?
I was not, you know, I don't think anybody is really, unless you're really involved in the prevention of it. As a father of 3 kids, and just as you know, you become a father, you're a father to everybody, and I was blown away by how prevalent it is in our country, in our neighborhoods, and you know, I kind of felt stupid. Like I kind of felt ignorant to the fact that I wasn't aware of the severity of this.
Yeah, I mean, it really, and it's powerful just seeing Juliette and I'm sorry, I don't know the actress who plays the young girl, who is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Yeah. So everybody really go out and see this weekend. Frank, I'm curious, you know, I know we've known each other a long time. I don't recall, what drew you to acting initially?
Burt Reynolds. You know, the first movie my father ever took me to, and I think might have been the only movie my father ever took me to, was The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds. And I remember sitting in a theater with my father, who I didn't do many things with my father. And I remember looking at this guy and saying, I want to be this, I want to be that guy. I want to do that. And no, obviously nobody in my family was an actor or involved in the arts in any way, shape, or form. They were peasant farmers. And so that started this love of it. And I didn't believe I could ever do that. And I don't know, somehow I'm sitting here and talking.
Yeah, you certainly are. Burt Reynolds,
Yeah.
did you ever get to meet him?
I did meet him. And he was, you know, they say never meet your heroes, but he was the coolest dude. And I told him my Longest Yard story, and he gave me a big hug and a big kiss. And it was great. And, you know, and since then I've gotten to become friends with some of my heroes, like Pacino and Liam Neeson and Mel Gibson. I consider them friends now. Like, we talk to each other on the phones, and it's amazing to me that I was this kid in the theater at one point, and now these guys are calling me.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about your role model, so I'm glad you went there. But you attended NYU for business, right? Not
I did,
for,
yeah.
For acting. So
yeah,
was that just to be smart and have
It's
a
just what
plan?
my friends. Yeah, it was what my friends did. It's what I was doing. It's not believing in a dream, you know, which I have now learned to nurture my children's dreams and not make them feel like they need to be conventional for the sake of being conventional. And you know, I have one of my sons now just directed his first movie. So you know, coming from immigrant parents, you know, dreams weren't really important to them. It was, you know, having a retirement fund. It was having a steady job. It was, you know, becoming a professional was more important.
Well, speaking of your boys, Remy, Liam, and Rio, how are they doing? And
They're
how old are they now?
Remy's 25, and he's just about finished editing his first film, which I'm in, along with my friend Jamie King. And my little guys are in high school. They're not little guys anymore. They're grown-ups. And I'm a single dad, and I live with my 3 grown-up sons, and it's a panic.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And so Remy has followed sort of in your footsteps, but directing.
Oh yeah, he's directed. He just acted in a movie with me too. In fact, the director loved his energy so much. He said, "Does Remy act?" And I said, "Well, you could ask him." And so Remy just did a movie with me. So not only do I have a movie coming out that he directed, but there's a movie going to come out that he's in with me.
What are both of those names of the film?
The name of the movie he directed is Man's Son. And the name of the film that we did together is MR9, and it's based on this series of books about the Indian Secret Services in India. So yeah, it's been. And then my youngest son, Rio, played my son in Boss Level with Mel Gibson and Naomi Watts. So I think they're all kind of attracted to the business in a way.
I love that.
Yeah.
What was it like being directed by Remy?
You know, I have such respect for this kid, and I did not want to impose my will on him in any way, shape, or form, and I let him do his thing. And the only time I really interjected is when I felt he was going in the wrong direction completely.
Okay.
And then I pulled him aside and have a conversation, and we kind of fix it together. But he was the leader, and I told him before that, and he spoke to my friends Joe Carnahan and Gavin O'Connor, Gary Fleeter, Peter Berg, all these guys who were very, well-established directors. He got a chance to talk to all of them before he started. And, I told him the one thing you need to be is the leader. And he pulled it off.
Were you nervous, just watching him?
I was shitting in my pants. Because, as a parent, you only are happy as your least happy child. And him failing would have been a bad thing. And it's like anything. When he started wrestling and he was on the mat, I could almost not bear it. I couldn't take it. It was too much for me. And with this, I really made a conscious effort to be aware of his process. And he pulled it off brilliantly. And he got shut down for 5 days because of COVID. And this was a small film, but he managed to keep it all together and finish the movie. So
I can't wait to see it. Can you tell us a little? I understand it's inspired by the California's desert occult activity.
It has to do with Charles Manson in a way, and bringing Charles Manson back to life. This cult believed that they could bring Charlie Manson back and that they would recreate the Manson family. And I get to play the kind of leader of the cult, which was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, it was for his first movie, and a movie made for about $1 million. It was really done well.
That's amazing. Where did he study?
He went to New York Film Academy for 3 years, and here in Los Angeles, and has been on my sets. He's worked on my TV show Kingdom for 3 years. He was a PA, and he rose the ranks there. And when I did my fight series, Fight World, for Netflix, he came with me for half of the trips. So he's been involved in a creative way with me for a long time.
Do you want to direct?
I am. I'm going to direct. I think next year is probably the year because it's going to take me 9 months of my life. So I've got to clear my plate.
Yeah.
And find the right thing to do. Like if I'm going to do it, it's got to be special for me. So, I think next year is the year. 2023 is when I'm going to try to dip my toe into that pool.
Do you have a genre you'd love to tackle?
Well, I love the genre that feeds my family, which is the action thriller genre. Mm-hmm. So if I can find something that's not too big, that's kind of where my heart lies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You left Guiding Light in 1999. Could you have imagined the amount of work you have accomplished from that point and the amount of success?
I'll tell you something funny. When I left Guiding Light in 1999, the producer, who was a friend of mine, he said to me, "Stay another 3 years and I'll double your salary." And I said, "Brother, I appreciate it, but I'm leaving. And I wasn't meant to be here more than the time I was here, but thank you for the opportunity." And he said to me, and he kind of turned on me a little. He said, "It's cold out there. And if you want to come back, I don't know that you'll be able to."
That was Paul, right?
That was Paul, who loved me. He really did love me.
Oh, he did. I remember.
He loved me. But he was trying not to, and I was leaving with Wendy, my wife at the time. Yeah. And we were kind of like a big deal on that show. And I said, "I appreciate what you're saying." I said, "But I won't fail. And it might be cold out there for a while, like you say, but I'll be okay." And I left, and I never looked back, not once, never. And there were times when it was cold in LA for me, and I could have gone back, and I never thought about it. But that what Paul did, I don't know if he did it intentionally. He put a drive in me that I think created this thing where I was not going to allow myself to fail. I didn't need to become Tom Cruise. I mean, that's a silly kind of thing, but I wanted to be a guy who people wanted to work with, and be serious about it. And I think I've achieved that at least. So.
Absolutely. What do you think you learned, in those 3 years of Guiding Light that sort of maybe helped you throughout?
I learned the discipline of being an actor and being prepared. A soap opera is shot every day, a new episode. Every day is 60 pages. And if you're heavy in an episode, you might have 35 or 40 of those pages. And so I learned the discipline, which was to sacrifice my life then for a life that I wanted, right? And so I just, that's all I would do. And so I learned how to learn lines and understand script and character and, and put all this time while I was at the soap opera, and I knew it was temporary, to learn. And it was a great experience, and I don't regret it, and I'm grateful for it.
Some amazing work there with Laura and Wendy.
And Wendy, yeah, for me at the time, it was just as serious as anything else.
Well, yeah, and Hart was a character the fans loved. They loved you in that role for sure.
And I never had a shirt on.
Well, that's soap opera for you, right?
Somehow I could be wearing a suit and I didn't have a shirt on.
If you look back, are there any memories that stand out from that time in your mind?
It's when I fell in love with my wife, who was the love of my life. To this day, was the love of my life. And we had a phenomenal time together. We got to act together. We got to live together. We got to fall in love. And it was, I wouldn't replace it for anything.
In the Big Apple, no less.
Yeah,
right?
and running around New York City in the 90s. I mean, the best time ever.
Yeah, and sadly, 222 East 44th doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist. It's gone.
An apartment building. It is an apartment building.
I know, man. I know.
Crazy.
Yep.
What success. I mean, for you, there's so many projects you've done. I know what Kingdom meant. The Netflix series, playing Crossbones. I mean, I want to talk about Crossbone, but is there one that really stands out as, a highlight for you in it, to where you are today?
Yeah. I think for me, I think, there were things that started my career. I showed up in LA the day after I got here from New York, from quitting the soap. And I sat with a guy named Gary David Goldberg, who created Family Ties. And the day after I got here, he hired me to be on a show called Battery Park with Elizabeth Perkins and Bokeem Woodbine. And I was like, wait a minute, Paul just told me it was going to be cold out here, and I just got here, and I'm on NBC between Friends and Frasier. And that so people don't know any of that stuff, but those were the things that kind of made me believe that this could work, And for film, my friend Gavin O'Connor put me in a movie called Warrior. Well, first he put me in Pride and Glory with Edward Norton and Colin Farrell and John Voight. And that was my taste of the film world, and then put me in Warrior. And from there, Joe Carnahan put me in The Gray. And then David Ayer put me in End of Watch with Gyllenhaal. And so all of a sudden, the film world became a thing. And it just kind of never stopped.
I love hearing you attribute, you're giving their names, everybody who's helped and hired you. It sounds, very grateful.
Oh, it doesn't happen without the kindness of strangers, someone to believe in you, because it could have went the other way. I've got lots of friends who are terrific actors. It just didn't work out for some reason. And this is why I think happenstance and luck and being at the right place at the right time and being completely dedicated to what you're doing makes the world a difference. You need a bit of luck, and you need the kindness of strangers. You need someone who's in a place of power to believe in you. Gary David Goldberg, when I sat in the room with him, this is Gary David Goldberg, right? He said, and my agent at the time was UTA. He said, so I said, are we going to read now? And he goes, you're not going to read. You're the guy. He goes, but you're going to tell your agents not to negotiate. You're going to get what I give you, and you're going to be happy. And I said, yes, sir. And I left that room, and they called me, and I said, I think I might have gotten the job. And they go, what are you talking about? You have to test. I go, I don't know. I think I was the test. And I said, but don't negotiate. And they went like, what? I said, don't negotiate. And that was kind of like, but that guy saw something that, things like that have happened to me. My father used to say to me all the time, I don't know how, but you were born with a horseshoe up your ass. You're the luckiest guy. I swear to you, that's what he used to say to me. And so maybe I am, I don't know, but it's been not without struggle, but it's been a really fun, blazingly fast 20 years.
But I love, that happened at the start. You arrive in LA after that conversation with Paul Rausch. That happens because it probably has helped you do that for other people, I would assume.
Oh, absolutely. I tell, there's a thing I say that my mentor, the guy who's guided me is a very powerful man in Hollywood, Kevin Uvain, who's one of the owners of CAA.
Yeah.
There were times where I was down and I felt like I'm too old. I'm 35. That show didn't work. That was my last chance. And he said to me, let me tell you something. And he said, I represent the biggest of the big. And he said, there are no rules. There's no rules. Because you think you're 35 and done, that's not, it doesn't mean anything. That's not written anywhere. So stop thinking that way. And it's my mantra. And I pass that on people. I hear people talk and I go, what are you talking about, man? There's no rules. Nobody cares how old you are, how young you are. There's no rules. If you're the person that they think is the person, then you'll be the person. And people have come and thanked me. And I tell Kevin all the time, I go, man, that we should get T-shirts made. And that's what we should do for a living.
I love that. The motto, Frank Grillo's motto from Kevin Huvain. You've thrown out so many names of people you've worked with. Are there still names on that list that you would like to work with?
Oh my gosh. There are people who, whose films that have, changed my life. Guys like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola, David Fincher, filmmakers who I just think, Michael Mann, that they're in a certain space that it's very thin air that they're breathing. And, look, my career lives in a certain place for the most part. And, I have no delusions of grandeur. I'd be lying to you if I said I wouldn't like to kick it up a notch and be able to work with some certain directors to have that experience, not to say it would be better or worse, but just to have the experience to work with some of these people who are, just iconic in our business.
Well, you got to put it in the universe, right?
You got to put it in the universe.
Say
there are no rules.
Yeah, exactly. So talk about Crossbones, and did you grow up, loving superheroes? So to be a part of that, what was that experience like?
I did. I'll be honest with you. I didn't. I was a sports kid. Mm-hmm. My parents, I was a latchkey. My parents were always working. I never went home after school. I was always playing whatever sport in the season. I wrestled. I played football. I played lacrosse. I was never home. And I never looked at a comic book ever. I didn't really watch much television. I was into sports and being outside. And even when Marvel called, I remember when the Russo brothers asked me to come and and audition or screen test for this role, I didn't even know what Marvel was. I really didn't.
Wow.
If it wasn't for my children,
I
my
was gonna-
son Rio, my baby, he should run Marvel when Feige is done, because Feige was that kid. Feige was that kid. And that's what makes him so brilliant. My little son Rio, if you saw his collection of figures, I mean, he's got 1,000 of them. He's a fanatic. I wasn't that kid.
Was he that before you entered?
Yes. So
Oh.
now Daddy is, and all he look. It's so interesting how he looks at me when he talks to me about when the fanboys talk about Crossbones, it's really gorgeous, and it's connected me with him in such a brilliant way. But
I can't imagine what he, if that's his world, and then there's Dad on the big
there's
screen.
Dad, and but Crossbones, the Russo brothers gave me an amazing opportunity. And as little as I've been in those movies, the effect on my career has been profound. The effect on my visibility has been profound. And people, my publicist is sitting right next to you. There is not an interview I have done, it doesn't matter what movie it is, that it doesn't come back to Crossbones or the Marvel Universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you're going to be playing I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Ferruccio
Lamborghini.
Yeah. And another movie with Oscar winners and Gabriel Byrne and Mira Sorvino, Bobby Moresco, who wrote Crash and $1 Million Baby with Paul Haggis. Oscars. They all have Oscars. And I got to play this iconic Italian character. I got to do it all over Italy. It's going to the Rome Film Festival in October. So I got to tell you, it's become at this point the pinnacle of my career as an actor. Is I started as Hart Jessup on this soap opera, and I'm playing this guy, and at my age, and still kind of reaching and trying to do more and more and better work. And so there are no rules, man.
I love it. And I love, seeing you on Billions was fantastic.
Billions. Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to be like a little fun job. That turned into like an 8-episode. People, like so many people who normally would not see movies that I'm in, especially women, like middle-aged women, are like, "Oh my God, you're Nico the artist." Like, excuse me?
And now you have your own production company, right?
Yeah, I've had for the last 6 or 7 years, Joe Carnahan, who wrote and directed The Grey and Narc and so many great movies. We have this, we made Boss Level together with me and Mel and Naomi Watts. We just finished Cop Shop with me and Jerry Butler. So yeah, we made those movies. We made Fight World. We made Wheelman. So yeah, now I'm making movies.
Right. And what is that? What part of that experience do you love? Not acting in it, but the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, it's I love having an idea about something and being able to bring it to life and use what are now 25 years of connections in the business and goodwill to kind of put films together and go out and find the money. And it's an evolution of from where I started, and I love it. I'll do it till I can't, till I take my last breath. I mean, I like creating, putting people together and creating stuff like that. To me, it's a lot of fun.
Is there a project that you've had for a while that you're just dying to make still?
There's not one project. There's a couple of things that we really love. I mean, I can't talk too much about it, but I'm starting to get into the world where maybe I want to direct something too. So my eyes are open for pieces that I think I could kind of do something with as a director. Because a lot of these little movies that I do with green directors, I wind up helping a lot directorially, and with the script, which I love to do. So that's kind of where my focus is starting to go.
Really amazing, Frank. Congratulations. Thank you for spending the time.
Well, thank you, man.
Paradise Highway is in theaters now. Everyone, go check it out. Frank, stay well, my friend.
Thanks, brother. Always a pleasure.
Good to see you.
You too.
I have to thank Frank Grillo for joining me today. Please go see Paradise Highway, which is in theaters now. It's riveting. Tune in next Wednesday, August 3rd, when General Hospital's Jackie Zeman joins me live. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Turn on the notifications down below for reminders of all upcoming shows. And don't forget, you can check out audio versions of The Locker Room on your favorite streaming platforms. Search The Locker Room on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you on Wednesday.